Swagatam, Namaskaraha. Today is Thiravasaraha, Dvavimshatitamah Dinankaha, Dvavimshaha Dinankaha. Prathamo Bhagaha, Vyakaranam, Tingantapakaranam. Today is Saturday, 22nd of October. This is the first session. Vyakarana Bhagaha. Yastu Mangalacharanam. Ramo Rajabranis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Ramena Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittale Sada Bhautame Bhorama Mamuddhara. Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame. Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. Shri Ramanama Varanana Onnama Iti. Atha Shri Maheshwara Sutrani. Ai Un. Rulruk, ong, ai ouch, hayavarat, lan, nyamang, nam, jabang, garadash, jabagardadash, kapa chata, chata, thav, kapaisha, sarhal. Iti Maheshwara Sutrani. Again, as usual announcements, thanks to Kumud and Radha and Yulia and with the documents, and Ravi is also recording. Vasu is here. There's a lot of people working in the background. And the usual disclaimer, anything I say in the class is only pending confirmation from Siddhanta Kaumudi or Kashika or Mahabhashyam. It's only food for thought. Vichara Moolam. So it's not the Antima Pramanam. It's not the final word. One quick thing from last time, I just want to mention one. Let me see if I can. Okay. The last time we had looked at the sutram She Muchadinam. She Muchadinam. Here She Muchadinam. We looked at these 8 dhatus. So the sutram is 7159 She Muchadinam. Right below the sutram Iditonum Dhatoho. Right below that we have the sutram. So just to refresh your memory, I just want to add one small detail to that, to the She Muchadinam. So 7159 is She Muchadinam. So these 8 dhatus take the Num Agamaha, Sha Pratyaya Parataha, when the Sha Pratyaya follows. I just want to mention that these 8 dhatus, Mucha, Lupa, Vida, Lipa, Sicha, Krita, these 8 dhatus, they are the last 8 dhatus in the Tudadiganaha. So, just as a pointer, I just noticed that they're the last 8. Let me just show you in the Tudadiganaha. They are number 172 onwards. If you look at the Dhatu Partha, you have this online Dhatu Partha which you have. If you go there, you look at the Muchadayaha, Ashtav, last 8. So if you look at the end of the Tudadiganaha, here we have the, see here, Mucha, Lupa, Vida, Lipa, Shicha, Krita, Kida, Pisha. So these are the 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This reminds us of that sutram, Vachi Sapi Yajadi Nankiti. Vachi Sapi Yajadi Nankiti. At that time we had those last 9 Yajadis, which were the end of the Vadiganaha. The Vadiganaha, when we had the Vachi Sapi Yajadi Nankiti. So similarly, Muchadis are the last 8 of the, because they are placed in Dhatu Partha in certain order, certain nice place, so we can recognize them. So the Yajadis, which occur in 6115, they were the last 9 dhatus of the Vadiganaha, which is Vachi Sapi Yajadi Nam Kiti. And then these She Muchadinam, these Muchadis are the last 8 dhatus of the Tudadiganaha, Shashtaha Ganahas. So, okay, now last time we were just in this, looking at this, we began the Rudha Adiganaha, Rudha Adibhyashnam. We just saw that sutram. Shapopavadaha, Shnam Pratyaha is placed after verbal roots belonging to Rudha Adiganaha. Now these ganas, as I mentioned to you, go in the order of the Ashtadhyaya, when we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because the you can see here the Kartri Shap was the default. Then of course Adiprofitibhya Shapaha Shapluk. Then you have Yuhatyadibhyashluhu, also a Shlu illusion. And then we had the 4th Gana, Divadibhyashan, fifth gana, panchama gana, swadibhyashnuho. Then last time we saw tudadibhyashaha, now saptama gana, rizadibhyashnam. That's where they are. So this is where we left off last time, and we also made a comment here that the purpose of shakara in the shnam is not for the thing which is savradhatukam, because this pratyaya goes inside the dhatu. So dhatu parataha nasti. So it cannot really do any guna adesh, anything like that. So it is only for the visheshanartham. So then Panini can refer to this pratyaya shnam in sutras such as, shnanna lopaha, this 6423, and also in the Shnasoral lopaha 64111. In rules like that, Panini can refer to it. So anyway, we derived the form last time, runadhi. So what happens that after we get the pratyaya, first steps are always common. By now we should be used to that. So vartaman illat anubandha lopaha tiptajji anubandha lopaha rudhati. At that point comes the ridadibhyashnam. And because of midachon kyatparaha, it goes after the last ach in the yangam, which is the dhatu rudh. So it follows the ukaraha, and anubandha lopaha lashakwatati halantyam becomes runadti. Not only sandhikaryam, jashash tathor dhodha becomes the dhakaradeshaha. Then jalam jashi becomes the dhakaradesha for this dhakaraha, and then runadhi finally by nattam atkupmanum yavayepi. We did this last time. Then we're looking at the dvivachanam. In dvivachanam, when we had the pratyaya tas, rudh plus lat, same all steps, and we get so the pratham purusha dvivachanam pratyaya is tas. So there what happens is that we get the shnam, ridadibhyashnam, but now because this pratyaya tas is a sarvadhatika pratyaya, which is apit, therefore by sarvadhatukam apit becomes nyitvat. When that happens, we get the akar lopaha over here, because vaishnasoral lopaha. We had the sutram already when we started dhatu as. Same thing there also. In the case of dhatu as, we had astistaha santi. So when we had a apit sarvadhatika pratyaya following, it became mitvat by 1 to 4 sarvadhatukam apit, and that means that it takes the akar lopaha. The sutram 64111 we have already seen. We can, if you want, we can go there one more time. Just shnasoral lopaha 64111. It says that shnaha shnasya asteshcha ataha lopaha. So this shnasya means this gana vikaranam shnam only. The akara of shna, which is the shnam, and of the dhatu as takes lopaha when sarvadhatu ke kiniti. So that's what we have now, because we have the pratyaya tas, which is a sarvadhatukam apit, becomes mitvat by 1 to 4 from shasarol lopaha, that the akara of shnam takes lopaha. So then we got the sandhikaram, which is where we were last time. We are rundtas that we had. Now the same step that we had in the ekavachanam, which is the jashastator dhodha. So takarasya sthane, so jashaha, so following a chaturtha varnaha, which in this case is the dhas, tathoho, in the place of takara or takaraha, we get a dhakara adeshaha. So we get rundhas, and then comes the anuswara in place of nakaraha. Now at this point, we were talking about why this nakara does not take nattam. Nattam rules are in 8.4, from 81841 onwards, up to 8439. So that those have, because of puratra asiddham, if nattam is done right now, it will be asiddham in the eyes of this sutram, naschyapadantasya jali. So therefore, because of that, naschyapadantasya jali gets the first chance and does the anuswara adesha. Now you get rundhas. I put the note over here that because in naschyapadantasya jali is an earlier rule in the ashtadhyayi compared to atkupmanyum vyavayepi. Therefore, as per puratra siddham, the nakara adesha, which would have been done by 842 is asiddha in the drishti of Naschapadantasya Jali. So we have to first apply Naschapadantasya Jali, and then we get the same sutram here, which is as in the Ekavachanam, we have Jalam Jashi. So we get Rund Das, and now what happens is that we get Anuswarasya Parasavarnaha by 8458. Now look what happened is we bypassed the entire section of Natvam, which is from 841 to 39. So when this Parasavarnaha Nakara is done, that is a Siddha in the eyes of 842 now. So we cannot come back and do Natvam. So this is the Panini's technique. What he does is that he puts this Nashabdantasya Jali is 8324. Anuswara comes in place. And then we skip all these rules in between, most particularly these rules about the Natvam, also the Shtunashtuhu. So this entire Natta Prakaranam, and also the following that we have this Shtunashtuhu, all that is skipped. Skipped means that there's only an Anuswara is seen. For all these rules in between can only see Anuswara. They cannot see Nakaraha. And then quietly afterwards comes the Anuswara Sri Parasavarnaha. Parasavarna Adesha is done. So that is how the Nattam is avoided. It's not only this for this dhatu. Take a simple word like Granthaha. In the word like Granthaha, what has happened is that why does not Nattam take place there? Because Naschapadantasya Jali made that Nakara into Anuswaraha, and then that is 8324. And then which is back here 8324, and then following that by Anuswarasya Parasavarnaha we get the, which is 8458, we get the Nakara back, and that is how the Nattam is not done. The Natta Prakaranam only sees Anuswara. It cannot see the Nakara. Okay, so that's what where we stopped last time, is that we were explaining that how this Nakaraha is Apadanta Nakaraha, Anashchapadantasya Jali. So there is a Jal letter following. Nakara becomes Anuswara Adeshaha. Of course, in the meanwhile, we get this Jalam Jashi. That's fine. But then we get Anuswara Se Parasavarnaha. By that time, it's too late for the Nattam, because Nattam rules have already passed. They cannot see the Parasavarna Adeshaha. So 842 cannot apply because of Nakara Adesha done by 8458 is Asiddha in the eyes of 842. So then, and finally we get the Sutram, which is Jharo Jhari Savarne. Now these rules are Sandhi rules. They have only, when the sounds come in contact, what happens? They have nothing to do as such with this Rudhadi Ganaha or Tingandam Prakaranam. So always should know, because as far as Tingandam Prakaranam was concerned, it was finished right here. Because we did the Vyashnam, we got the Shnam Vyakaranam. After that, we got Shnasara Lopaha. That was also Angakaryam. After these are all only Sandhi rules now. So Jharo Jhari Savarne says that Halaf Parasya, very important. You should have a Hal, Jhar, Savarna, Jhar. This is the combination if you have. In that case, the Madhyavati Jhar, the Jhar in between, takes Pakshika Lopaha. Takes Lopaha optionally. So Halaf Parasya Jharaha. Va Lopaha Savarne Jhari. Do you have that right now? It's a very important rule. Halaf Parasya Jharo Va Lopaha Savarne Jhari. So what do we have right now? We have Run Da Das. So we have this Dakara, which is preceded by a Hal, which is Nakara, followed by a Savarna. Savarna, because it belongs to the same Varga, Dhana. So it's Savarna with the Dakara. Tulyasa Pratnam, Savarnam. So Asyam Pratnam is the same, it is the same location of the mouth pronunciation. So this is this Savarna family. Belongs to the same family, Tavargaha. So that is a Savarna Jhar. So then what happens is that this middle Dakaraha takes Vikalpena Lopaha, optional Lopaha. So one more time, if you have a Hal, a consonant, following that is a Jhar letter, means Jabai, up to Shashasar, up to there, okay? So any one of those letters, and then followed by a Savarna Jhar. then in that case, the first jar, the madhyavarti, the middle, takes lopa optionally. So we get rundha and rundha, rundha. Now let us let's go to the table for rudh. If you look at these forms, so runadhi, runatsi, runadbhi. These three places of pratyaya following is a mip, is a pit, I'm sorry. So to tip, sip, mip. So we cannot apply the shnasar or lopaha because this pratyaya is a pit. So we do not get the nitvat bhavaha. So sarvadhatukam apit does not apply. So there's no akara lopa of the shnam. So just natvam in all three cases, but kupmanyum gavayepi. And then in the case of runatsi, we get dik kharicha. Kharicha. Runadbhi, there's no karyam, nothing to be done. Runadhi we already derived. We had the jashastator zodhaha followed by jalam jashi. Now in all of these places, these 6 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of these we're going to have sarvadhatukam apit, pratyaya becomes nitvat, shnasor or lopaha, the akara shnam takes lopaha. So here we just did these forms rundhaha, rundhaha, rundhaha because of jharo jhari savarne. We also explained why this nakara does not take natvam, because it takes first takes the anusvara adeshaha by 8324. Naschyapadantasya jali becomes parasavarna by 8458. In the meanwhile, it has bypassed all natvam rules, which cannot see the nakara. They only see anusvara. Now rundhanti, of course, jivantaha, simple, nothing else. Rundhaha, rundha, same forms here because jashastathor dhodhaha. So all the same, so whether you have the tas pratyaha or the thas pratyaha, the form is the same because jashastathoho, tathoho. So takara, takara, either one of them takes the dhakara adesha, following a jash, chasuta varnaha. So these two forms will be the same in both these cases. Of course, we get the jaro jhari savarnaha, jaro jhari savarne. I'm sorry, jaro jhari savarne. This rule, jaro jhari savarne, is almost the end of the Ashtadhyayi. End of Ashtadhyayi. So it sees all other rules, and at the end only it comes for jaro jhari savarne. And the same thing here, nothing special. These three said almost always go together. Whatever applies in one generally goes with the other. Now when you come to the Uttapurusha, Dvivachanam, Bahuvachanam, here we don't have jaro jhari savarne. We do have the nakara, which is a hal. Dhakara is a jar, but the vakara is not the jar. It's not a jar. It's not savarna also, of course. It's not a jar in the first place. So here there's no question of applying jaro jhari savarne, because the vakara and the makara is not a jar. Jar only starts from jabhai gardash, only from there. All the nasals come before that. Okay, so that's in the lat lakaraha. In the lot lakaraha, there's nothing special in terms of this ganakaryam in place of this thing. So we get all the rules specific for the lot sambandhi niyamaha, not the shnam sambandhi niyamaha nasanti. So instead of runadhi, we get eruhu, runadhu, and then we get tatang, tuyos tatang, ashishyanatarasyam. So we get tatang paksha. When tatang comes, the tatang is a sakshat nyat. So that is going to invoke dishna soral lopaha, akara lopaha, and after that it's going to be similar to what we did over here. We're going to get the naschyapadantasya jali, and then after that we are just exactly what we did over here. Naschyapadantasya jali, then we get the jashastator zodhaha, and we also get the jalam jashi. So what we just did over here, the same steps, we get we first get jashastator zodhaha. Then because we have tatang, in that case we have tatang. Here we have tas, there we have tatang, which is the same thing basically. It's takara pratyaya, which is apit. So we get jashastator zodha. Then we get the naschyapadantasya jali anusvaradeshaha. In jalan jashi, we get the dakara deshaha. Then anusvarasi parasavarnaha. Then vikalpena jaro jhari savarne, or middle jhara takes lopaha. That's what we have over here. Rundhat, 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 rundhat. So same steps as we had over here basically. The starting is a nyat. In this one we get loto langvat tasastamipam tam tam tamaha. So same again, the same prakriya, pratyaya is tam. It came in place of tas is also a apit. So all the same steps. Rundham, rundham, rundhantu, again same as rundhanti, jvantaha, and we get the eruhu. Now here what happens is that we get rudh plus we have the pratyaya sip to begin with. Then Karna Vikarana Shnam comes in there, so become Ru Nadh plus sip, Serya Picha comes. Serya Picha comes in there, and Hu Jal Bhyo Herdhi. Hu Jal Bhyo Herdhi, because the he takes the Dhi Adesha and following a Jal. So we had Ru Nadh sip became Ru Nadh he, Ru Nadh became Dhi. Now what happens is that because that Serya Picha, that he is an apit, Serya Picha. So because we can use Sarvadhat to come apit, and Nishna Sorul Allopaha. So now we got Rund Dhi. Once you got Rund Dhi, then we can use Jalam Jashi and then Jaro Jari Savarne. So here the pratyaya dhi, so here there is no need to use the jashastator dhodha. This doesn't apply. Directly we got the dhi adesha by hu jal bhyo herthi. Hu jal bhyo herthi. Hu jal bhyo herthi. Here it is. Hu jal bhyo herthi. So because we had the angam was, now it was ending in dhakaraha. It's followed by the hi pratyaya. We took the dhi adesha. So we got rund dhi. Following that, Jalam Jashi, and following that, of course, in the meanwhile, we get the Nashchapadanta Jali, it becomes Parasavarna afterwards, and then we get Jaro Jari Savarne. Similar steps to what we had here and what we had here, except only difference is that because we already got the Dhi Adesha directly, there is no application for Jashastator Dhodha. So Jashastator Dhodha doesn't apply. Everything else is similar to what we did over here. But because even though sip was a pit pratyaya, when you got the hi adesha, serya picha, apicha, serya picha, 83487, that he is an apit. That's what invokes Dishna Sora Lopaha. Now these three go together because instead of tam we have tam over here. So these are all the same steps as we had over here. Finally, Jaro Jari Savarna applies. And when we come to Uttam Purushaha, lot, as I always mentioned to you a few times, when you hear the word Uttam Purushaha, when you hear lot, immediately think of the Sutram, Aduttamasya Picha, Aduttamasya Picha, Aduttamasya Picha. So in Uttam Purushaha, lot, regardless Parasya Padam or Apane Padam, we're going to get the Ad Agamaha, and it's going to be a pit. Once we say that, there's no application for Shnasorol Lopaha. That only applies when the pratyakit nit follows. So, and Merni applies over here. So, Runa Dhani, Runa Dhava, Runa Dhama. Here also, Loto Langvat, Nityam Nitaha. So, this Antyasakara takes Lopaha. And Nattam, as usual, Nattam. So, this is our rule which we use all the time, which is 842 Atkapan. That's always has to be checked. Any Nattam which you do, you have to see which there is intervene. Nimittam and the Karyam, always check Atkupu Atkapwang Num Yavaye Pi. So that is what's happening here. So in these three places, because of Aruttamasya Picha, there's no question of applying the Shnasara Lopaha. Only Merni applies here, and here Loto Langvat Nityam Nitaha. Runadhani, Runadhava, Runadhama. Now in the Lang Lakaraha, similar steps in all, of course, in all 9 places in Lang, we're going to get the Ad Agama, which is going to be the last step by Lung Lang Rung Shvarudaptaha 6471. 71, and then here we have the Itashcha, the Ikara drops. We practice this many times now, so we should we'll also be getting daily examples, which I hope you are following. These daily examples are the backbone of the class, so please follow them. We have limited time in the class, so we will not be able to take all the fun, but we will take some extra points in the daily examples, so please follow them. So now we have the Adagamaha, we have Itashcha 3 for 100, Then we got runad we have. Then after that we get jalam jashonte become runad, and then vavasani. These are all now sandhi rules. That's why we took sandhi rules in the beginning itself. So by jalam jashonte takes the dakara desha, titiya varnaha, and then vavasani makes it into the prathama varna, titiya varna. Optionally, so it becomes arunad. Now here we get tastamipam tam tamaha takes the tama desha. After that, all the same steps we had back here, which is this is a apit pratyaha sarvadhatukam pit becomes nitvat nasura lopaha, akar lopaha. Then after that we get the jashastatordhodhaha, the tam pratyaya becomes dham, and then we get the nashchapadantasya jali, and after that we get jalam jashi becomes a dakara deshaha, then anuswarasi parasavarnaha, and finally jaro jari savarne. So all the same steps which you had over here, which is the shnasara lopaha, yashasthatordhodhaha, nashchapadantasya jali, jalam jashi, anuswarasi parasavarnaha, and jaro jari savarne. So this is what I'm saying. You get a good chance to practice all these sandhi rules now. Arundham, 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 nothing special. Jontaha, itascha, sanyogantasya lopaha, arundhan. Now comes the special rule. When we had the sip pratyaya falling, there is a special rule. Let us see what we got. The three forms over here. We got arunaha, arunad. So these are straightforward. These three are straightforward. So let's look at these. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention, when you have arunad, one thing we should realize that this dakara is not the pratyaya tip. This is because pratyaya tip halantyam then itascha. Then we had only the aprukta takara remaining, and by halnyabhyo sutisya pruktam hal, the takara takes lopaha. So this is the dakara of the dhatu, which went through the jalam jashonte and the vavasani. So the tip pratyaya, the entire tip pratyaya was gone. Of course, the pakara is halantyam is an it. Then we had itascha 34100. After that we had 6168, which is halnyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hal. The takara of the tip also went away. But then we got suptingantam padam. We had arunad at this stage, and after that we got the 8239 jalam jashonte, and after that we got vavasani. Now same thing happens here because the halnyabhyo sutisya pruktam hal sutisi. So the same steps. But then how do we get this extra form arunaha? How did the visarga come in there? So let's look at the document. What you have is sutram dascha, dhator daka dasya, padantasya sipirurva. So the sutram, there are these three rules, by the way. This 8, 2, 73, very confusing they can be. So let's go through these three rules. We're going to see them in order now. Is tipyanastehe, sipidhato rurva, dascha. Okay. Therefore, these first two rules, there is anuvritti of sasajusho ruho. The sakara is coming into anuvritti is coming from sasajusho ruho. Tipyanastehe and sipidhato rurva. So these apply when you have a padanta sakara. Right now we don't have that because dhatu is ruddh. We will not get padanta sakara because after we get ruddh sa, after applying itascha, that sakara in the sip takes lopaha, aprukta pratyaya, hanyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hal, sakara is gone. So these first two rules, tipyanastehe, sipidhato rurva, won't apply in the case of dhatu ruddh because they require padanta sakara followed by tip in 8273 or followed by sip in 8274. But Dashcha says that if you have a padanta dakaraha followed by sip, it takes the ru adesha optionally. So these are three rules. There is first one is nitya karyam. The second two, the second and third are optional because anuvrutti of va comes down. Va comes down. The first one is when tip pratyaya follows. The second and third when the sip pratyaya follows. Sipi dhatu rudva. They're all for padanta situations. The first two require padanta sakaraha. This third one requires padanta dakaraha. So this is how these three rules interact. This kind of reminds me of the situation we had when we were looking at these four rules, also complicated rules, 71, 78, 79, 80, 81. How they were all about the Numa Agamaha and Shatru Pratyas being used, but they are this. This is optional, this is optional, this is nishedha. So all these, we had these four rules. They had some commonality. There also was a distinction between them. They had different things coming in different places. So same thing here. These two rules, please be careful when you deal with them. Their first two rules are talking about padanta sakaraha. The last one padanta dakaraha. The second and third are optional rules. And the first one is talking about when the tip pratyaya follows. The second and third follows when a sip pratyaya follows. Right now we will not have padanta sakaraha. We have padanta dakara. So we have to use the sutram dascha. Dascha. So what does dascha say again? Dhator dasya padantasya. Because let's follow the steps now. We have this rudh plus lang, anadyatane lang, going through the usual steps. Anubandha lopaha, sip, anubandha lopaha, itascha. Because the lakara has this kavarga panchama as a nit, it's a nit lakara. By itascha, the ending ikara drops. Then we get the ridadibhya shnam by 3178 shnam, and then vidochanthyat paraha, it goes in there. Anubandha lopaha by lashakvatadite halantyam. We have runad sa. Now this pratyaya sip is a pit pratyaya, so we cannot use the sarvadhatukama pit, so there is no question of applying shnasora lopaha. But now what happens? Meanwhile, of course, the ad agama comes lung lung rung shvardataha adyantau takitau anubandha lopaha halantyam. So arunad sa. Now comes 6168, which is actually we could have used 6168 before itself. It won't make any difference. So actually 6168 should be used first. So this step should be an earlier step, and then we use the 6471. It will not make any difference. So it will be hanyabhyo dirgha sutisya praktam hal. So we get the sakar lopa. Now after that we get pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam. Supting antam padam. The entire sip pratyaya went away, but pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam supting antam padam. We can still get the padasanya. Then jalam jashonte. So this jal letter becomes a tritiya varnaha, dakaraha. Arunad. And then we get the vavasane, arunad. But optionally, at this stage, when you have arunad, we have a padanta dakaraha, dakara of a dhatuhu, which is followed by sip because of pratyaya lope, pratyaya lakshanam. So then it takes pakshika ru adeshaha, arunaru by dashcha sutram, dashcha. And of course then we get the anubandha lopaha, upadesha janunasika it, and then karavasanayor visajaniyaha. So there are three forms, arunaha, arunat, arunadyaha. Let's read this sutram one more time. Dhator dasya, dakara of a dhatu, padantasya. Because the pratyaya sip went away, pratyaya lope, pratyaya lakshanam, it got the supting and the padan got the padasanya. Sipi, same thing, pratyaya lope, pratyaya lakshanam. Rurva. So it takes ru adesh optionally. So that's why we got this extra third form, arunaha, because we had the padanta dakara followed by dhatu, followed by sip, arunaha. So that is the last thing I think we need in this dhatu. Arunaha, arunat, arunad. In these places we won't repeat again the same steps as we had over here, which is the sarvadhatukama pit, shnasaro lopaha. Then we get the shastator dhotaha. Nashchapadantasya Jali, Jalam, Jashi, Jarojari Savarne, all the same steps. Same steps here also. Of course, here we have to first use the Tastastamipam Tam Tam Tamaha. Arunadham, because it came in place of Mip. Tastastamipam Tam Tam Tamaha. Amma Desha. It came in place of Mip. So it's not Nitvat. We cannot use Nasara Lopaha. Arunadham. So there's no Nasara Lopaha. Arundhva, Arundhma, nothing too special, only Nasara Lopaha. There's no Jarojari because there is this Vakara Makara is not a Jar. In the Vidiling, nothing very special in all places because the Yasut Prosepadeshu Dhatu Nitya. It's a Nit. Yasut makes his pratyay Nit to Sarvatra Shasara Lopaha. And then Nashchapadantasya Jali Anuswasi Parasavarnaha. But there's no question here also of the Jarojari Savarne because the Yakara is not a Jar. So Rundhyat, Rundhyatam, Rundhyo. So we'll not repeat all these from the class now because it's all been done, many, many times before. There's nothing special. Nothing special here. In all places, you can also get the Linga Salopanantasya. Linga Salopanantasya. Everywhere Sakar Lopaha. Okay. Atmanipadam, also there's no new rules. In these places, the same thing happened. Jarojari Savarna is the final step because Kita Atmanipadam Tere. These you can take for homework because there is not anything new that we need in any of these places. Lat Lakara, of course, Lakara, Tit Lakara. It has to be applied. Now, wherever you're going to have the Shnasaral Lopaha followed by, in this case, we have the Te Pratyaya following. So that's going to, invoke the Jashistator Dhodha and all the same steps we had before. Here we have the Pratyaya Dve following. So there also we're going to get the Jarojari Savarna at the end. Because see, what we have is we have Run Dve. So we have na, the Vakara is not a Jar, but the Dakara is in between. It's a Jar, preceded by a Nakara, which is a Hal, followed by a Dakara, which is a Savarna Jar. So this Dakara takes Pakshika Lopaha. We have a four consonant conjuncture, and the first three satisfy the condition of Jarojari Savarne. We have Nakara Hal, followed by Dakara Jar, followed by Dakara Savarna Jar. Dakara takes Pakshika Lopaha, Vikalpen Lopaha. And rest of these forms, nothing really very special. All of these cases, because Sarvadhatukam Pitta is going to get Nasara Lopaha. Now, in the Lot also, no really new rules. We get the Titaf Padam Tere, Ametaha. So this we can take for homework. There's nothing really. And in the Uttam Purusha, as always, Aduttamasya Pitcha. So that's the only place where we cannot apply Shnasora Lopaha because Pitcha, Aduttamasya Pitcha. So therefore this Pratyaya will be Pit. We cannot use Sarvadhatukam Pit. It will not be Nitvat. So there is no question of Shnasora Lopaha. So Runadhai, Runadhavahi, Runadhamahi. Here, usual rules, Chitapadam Tere. Then we get the Eta Ai, Atashcha Vriddhi, so Runadhai. Runadhai. Okay, and Lung also, no new rules. All of these places we get Nasara Lopaha, and the same Sandhi rules that we had before. Only thing here in these places we have Jarojari Savarne 1, 2, 3, and of course here also we also have the Atmanipadeshvanataha because here is the Angam will be ending in a Dhakaraha. So Atmanipadeshvanataha, it's not a Adantam Angam. So instead of Jvantaha, we get Atmanipadeshvanataha, we get the At Adesha. Arundhata, Arundhata. And in the Vidiling, we got the Linga Siyut in all places, Nasara Lopaha, in all places, Linga Salopanantyasya. So Rundhiya is common work with the usual warning that the Siyut is an agama to the pratyaya. It's not a part of the angam over here, but in terms of the common operations, Rundhiya will be common. After the Siyut agama is done, after Linga Salopanantasya is done, then Yatha Yogyam Lopo Vyorvali. Rundhiya is followed by a Val, then it's going to take the Yakar Lopaha. Rundhita Lopo Vyorvali over here, Rundhiyatam, nothing there, Rundhiran Jasyaran Lopo Vyorvali. vali. Rundhitaha, lope of your vali. Here also, here also lope of your vali. Now itot, rundhiya. In ling lakaraha, the it pratyaya takes the akara deshaha, rundhiya. Rundhi vahi, rundhi mahi is the lope of your vali. The itot, by the way, is come in this set of rules which apply for the lot lakaraha. So lot or langvat, here comes sorry, not lot, but the vidhiling. So itot should be coming here. Nityam nitaha itot, sorry. So jasyaran itot. So in the vidhiling. So a vidhiling, ashiling both. Because linga siyut, from there starts anuvritti of linga comes. So itot is coming in that section. Now, so we cannot take all the forms in the class, so please practice these. You'll get daily examples, and if you have any questions, of course, you can ask. There are no new rules applicable to over here. Now, the next dhatu is dhatu hisi himsayam. Hisi himsayam. Now, why are we taking this dhatu specially is a question to ask, because it has a nakara in there. It has a nakara in there, which is going to take lopaha. It's going to take lopaha. Now, first of all, if you look at this dhatu hisi, it is a idit. It has ikara as an it. So therefore, the first thing we have to do is iditonum dhatoho. Iditonum dhatoho. So the ikara at the end gets the it sanya. Upadesha jananasika it, and this dhatu is in idit. So we get the num agamaha. By he num sa. So before doing anything, this is nitya karyam. Iditonum dhatoho. Because Pani said dhatoho. It's a nitya karyam. So we get he num sa. Of course, we have to put the midochontyat paraha. It goes to the last vowel. So we got he num sa. Then we got hin sa. And when the lopaha, we get hin sa. Now, this is a parasimpadi dhatu. So now, this first form, what happens is that, let's go to our document now, and we get this sutram, which is shnanna lopaha. We are talking about why Pranini had put this Taleva Shakara as an it in the Shnam Visheshanartham. So in this Sutram Shnanna Lopaha, Pranini can refer to this Pratyaya Shnam specifically. Shnanna Lopaha. What did it say? Shnamaha Parasya. So Shnat, Shnamaha Parasya, Panchami Bhakti, following Shna. So Shnamaha, which we refer to the Vyakaranam Shnam. So Shnamaha, Panchami, Parasya, Nasya Lopasya. Very simple Sutram. Look at the number 6423. 6423. We have a very good friend next door, which is 6424. We have used this sutram many times. So the nalopaha comes into that from shnan nalopaha. Shnan nalopaha. So in fact, this is the first sutram of the adhikar vasiddhavat. The very first sutram in the adhikar vasiddhavat trabhat. The very first sutram is shnan nalopaha. So one more time, if you have a nakaraha following the Gana Vikaranaha Shnam, nakara takes lopaha. Very, very simple sutram. This is again the greatness of Panini, is that he breaks Vyakaranam down into these wonderful bits that are very easy to digest. So following Gana Vikaranaha Shnam, if we have a nakara, it takes lopaha. So we have this dhatu hisi, which took the numagamaha, iditonum dhatu, become hins. And then when we follow the usual steps, we got hins plus lat, adubandha lopaha, tipta ji, tippadeshaha, and then to the rudadibhya shnam, we got gana vikaranaha shnam, midochantyat paraha, and then what happens now is that we can do anubandha lopaha, lashaputaditi halantyam, and by shnanna lopaha, this nakara of the dhatu takes lopaha. So basically what this is doing, this is reversing the operation done by iditonum dhatoho in a way. So because iditonum dhatoho brought the nakara in there, why num agamaha, and shnanna lopaha came and removed it. So basically when the vikarana shnam comes over there, it removes that nakara which was got by iditonum dhatoho. You can think of it like that. So it becomes hinas. This we have the shnam is there, but the nakara of the dhatu takes lopaha. So one more time, if you have shnamaha parasya nasya lopasyat. If you have the nakara following the Shnam Ganvikaranaha, then it takes Lopaha, become Hinasti. Hinasti's final form. So only one special rule, Shnan Lopaha, Shnan Lopaha. Any new Panini rule, repeat it many times. So Shnan Lopaha, Shnan Lopaha. So let's look at the table for the Lat Lakaraha, nothing else. But in all of these places, Shnan Lopaha. Regardless whether we have to apply the Shnasora Lopaha, as long as Shnam is there, and Shnam is going to be there in all of these places. So in fact, all these lakaras, lat, lot, lung, vidiling, everywhere the vikaranaha Shnam is going to come, and everywhere we have to do Shnan Lopaha. Remove the nakara which came in by the Num Agamaha, Iditunum Dhatoho. So the operation done by Iditunum Dhatoho is basically wiped out by Shnan Lopaha in all four tables. Lat, lot, lung, vidiling. So we get Hinastu, sorry, no, we are back here. Hinasti, Himstaha. Now in these places we get Shnasoro Lopaha because Pratyaya Tas is Apit, Sarvadhatakam Apit, and nothing special, Nashapadantasya Jali. Now Himsanti here also, all these six places we should be familiar by now. The Pratyaya is Apit, we get the Sarvadhatakam Apit, Mitvat, Shnasoro Lopaha. So all these places Shnasoro Lopaha, and followed by we are also going to have the Shnan Lopaha, and then Sandhikaram in Tripadi section, Nashtapadantasya Jali. So Himstaha, Himsanti, Joantaha, Himstaha, Himsta, Himswaha, Himsmaha. In these three places, of course, Pratyaya is a Pit, so these are not Mitvat. So here only we get the Shnan Lopaha. Now, Hinasi. Remember when we had the dhatu as, we got the form asi, tattvam asi, etc. So there we had a special rule because tasastyor lopaha. So when we are doing the dhatu as, you're wondering why that didn't become asi. This becomes hinasi, but why did as not become asi? Because 7450 we had just in case you're comparing the two, because we had that special sutram there, tasastyor lopaha, that only applies for the pratyaya, Tas and the dhatu as, tasastyor lopaha. Tasastyor lopaha said that taserasteshcha sasya lopasyat sado pratyaya. That's only for dhatu as. Right now we don't have dhatu as, we have dhatu hisi. So there we have to just make it hinasi. There's no sakar lopa basically. Hinasi, hinasmi. Now lot, nothing special. Lot sambandhikaryani. But there's one rule here special. Here we have the, eruho. Here you have tuhyo statanga shishchinatrasyam. So same thing, the tatang is a nit, sakshat nit, that will invoke Shnasaro Lopaha. Here also in these places, Shnasaro Lopaha, 1, 2, 3, 4 places. But here the special rule, in this Madhya Purusha Ekvachanam, we have, what we have, let's follow the steps over here. From Hindi, we have these steps. Let's look at that one. So, Dhicha. Dhado Pratyay Pare Sasya Lopaha. So this is a special rule, a new rule today, which is that if you have the Pratyaya which is Dhakaradi, Dhakaradi Pratyaya, then what happens? The Torah Sakara takes Lopaha. Very simple sutram, Dhicha. Dhicha. Dhado Pratyay Pare Sasya Lopaha. Dhado Pratyay Pare Sasya Lopaha. So, Sakara is elided followed by Pratyaya beginning with a Dhakara. This is in 8.2.25. 8.2.25. So it's in the Tripadi section. You have to use it after doing all the operations in the Sapala Saptadhyayi. Dhicha. So, like we had Raj Sasya, next sutram is Dhicha. After Raj, because there's Anuvati of Sasya comes over here. Raj Sasya. So now, let's look at what we have. When you look at Madhya Purusha Ekvachanam lot, first we do before doing anything else, we have to do the Num Agamaha, Idito Num Dhatoho. That should be done before doing anything else. Even before doing the Vartama, the Lot Sutram, anything else. First thing with the Dhatu is an Idit. You have to apply Idito Num Dhatoho. Now we got Hins, Lot, usual step, Anubandha Lopaha, Madhya Purusha Ekvachanam Sip, Anubandha Lopaha, Hims Si. Now what happens? Serya Picha. Serya Picha. So we get the hi adesha. And then after that is done, as I said to you many times, it's a good rule to finish off the operations in 3.4. Immediately after applying tip tasjid, those are only the defaults. They're only the defaults. They will change many times depending on the lakaraha. So lakarashrita vikaraha. Sehriya picture. Now we get radibhya shnam. So he shnam nis, because midachwantya paraha. The shnam comes after the last vowel, which is after the ikaraha. So he shnam nis he. After that, anubandha lopaha lashakvataditi halantyam, and then we get shnan lopaha, because we have the shnam for the nakaraha, the nakara, which is a numagamaha, takes lopaha, now become hinas he. Now comes hu jalbyo he dhi. Hu jalbyo he dhi. He takes the dhi adesh, is following a jal. Sakara is a jal. So we got hinas dhi. Hinas dhi. Now comes, because it's seriya picture, the he is an apit. Seriya picture, that pratyaya becomes mitvat because of sarvadhatukam apit 1 to 4. See, this is how this is important. This is where this sutram sarvadhatukam apit applies in. It comes, and immediately when the pratyaya has sanya of sarvadhatukam, it is apit. Always think of sarvadhatukam apit. So this pratyaya became nitvat, and then shnasura lopaha, we get hins dhi, and now comes dhicha. Now comes dhicha 8 to 25, because we do have a sakaraha. For by dhakar adipatteha, sakar takes lopaha. We get hin dhi. And then of course nashapadantasya jali anuswasi prasavarnaha. See, now this is the prakriya of the Tinkana Prakara, as I mentioned to you, that now we are coming to the heart of Panini. We are going up the hill. Now in a few months, maybe in 6 months or so, we'll be on top of the hill. After that, quite honestly, you should be able to explore on your own, because we have seen all these guna, buddhi, sampasaranam, lopaha, all these operations now, basically anga karyani. So we got a good introduction to the Panini engine. So you can explore on you can take it for a test drive on your own. Try different things, see which forms you can derive, which you cannot derive. Always you can also ask questions. Look at all these steps over here, see all this interaction. It doesn't get too much more complicated than the thing in the Prakaram, generally speaking. So here the special sutram was dhicha. After following all the steps, after doing seriya picture, gana vikaranaha shnam, we got the shnan lopaha, we got hu jalbyo dhi, he became dhi, we got shnasora lopaha. Finally dhicha, removed the sakar of the dhatu, we got hindi. Hindi, the final form. That's the only special thing over here. Hindi, himstar, nothing special. Tatang is saying nit, so shnasara lopaha. They're also same thing in these places, shnasara lopaha in these two places. Uttaparasha lot means artamasya pitch. When that comes, it's not nitvat, so we cannot apply shnasara lopaha. But in all places, in all 4 tables, we are using shnan lopaha. Shnan lopaha. Num agamaha, which came by idithanum dhatoho, is being removed in all 4 tables. Let lot lang bidiring. Hinasani made nihi, hinasaba, hinasama, loto langvat, nityam nitaha loto langvat. These are I'm not repeating these rules again from the will take us too much time. These rules which we had discussed many times, for the lot lakaraha, lot sambandhi karyani, which is made nihi, so mi becomes ni, and then because of loto langvat, nityam nitaha, the uttam purushaha, the ending sakara drops, nityam nitaha. So okay, now let us correct. That's correct. Now let's move on to the lang lakaraha. The first 2, nothing surprising. All these places again we are using shnan lopaha, and in lang, of course, ad agama is the final step because of lung lang lang kshvardataha. In ahinat, what happened here was we had ahinas plus the pratyaya ahinas plus the pratyaya, the tip was there. So In fact, here actually we do need a new. I'm sorry. We do need new, because okay, let's do what we can do so far. We have ahinas after getting the kind of vikarana shnam. After doing shnanna lopaha, we have ahinas followed by tip. In the tip, of course, halantyam pakara is gone. Tasya lopaha. Ikara is gone by itascha 34100. We have ahinas. That aprukta takara the pratyaya also goes away by halnyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hal. That aprukta takara of tip also goes away because it is preceded by a hal, which is sakara of ahinasta. So ahinasta takara goes away. Now we have ahinasta. At this point we apply this rule which we just saw, these three rules, which is the tipyanastehe, shipidhatorva, and dascha. We already use dascha. That's when you dakara, dhatu dakaraha. We will not have that right now. The dhatu we have is hisi. We have dhatu sakaraha. So we look at these two rules. Tipyanastehe. So which you have, barring the dhatu as, any other dhatu is followed by the sapadanta sakaraha, followed by tip, it takes the, let's see what the vritti says. If we always look at the vritti first. Look at the vritti. Tipyanastehe. Tipyanastehe. Let's look at the vritti over here. That will be the next sutram for the tipyanastehe. Padantasya sasya dasya tipi natvastehe. Dakara is substituted for the padanta sakaraha. It is also occurring in a padam with the exception of sakara of dhatu as. Apavada for sasajushoruho. Sasajushoruha apavadaha. So normally if you have padanta sakara, what do you get? We get sasajushoruho. But this one says that if that padanta sakaraha is followed by pratyaya tip, then instead of getting the sasajushoruho, it takes the dakara deshaha. So that is how we get these two forms, ahinat, ahinad. Once we get dakara desha, of course, by the by sutram vavasane, we are going to get the takara desha optionally. So we get ahinat, ahinad, tipyanaste here. Now, anavritti of daha comes from this sutram, which we also, let's look at the ashtadhyayi for a second. Look at the sutram, the ashtadhyayi. So here we have this sutram, which is studied vasu, sramsu, dhvam, swanaduham, daha. This we saw this when we got we looking at the pratipadikam anaduh. Looking at that. Also we had the ending in the vasu pratyaya. At that time we looked at the sutram. Anuvritti of daha comes from that into tipyanastehe. So one more time, what sutram is saying is that padantasya sasya. Normally when you hear that, you should think of sasajushoruho. It says dasyat, but tipi. Only when the pratyaya tip follows. Natvastehe, but not for dhatu asa. So apavada for sasajushoruho. So let's follow these steps now. So we are looking for hims plus lung, nadyatane lung. Then we got the anubandha lopaha. And we got the pratyaya tip, anubandha lopaha itascha. Then sudad vyashnam. After that we got the shakvata dite and shakvata dite halantyam anubandha lopaha shnanna lopaha. The nakara dhatu went away because following shnam, if you have nakara it takes lopaha. And then actually we should do this step before that, which is the hanyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hal, because this is the aprukta sakaraha. Aprukta takaraha of the tip pratyaya. Aprukta takaraha followed by the hal. Hal is preceding that, sorry. So hanyabhyo. So following a hal, we got the aprukta takara of tip. So that is going to go away. Then we get the addagamaha, lung rung rung shvurdataha, and adyanto takitao halantyam. So we got ahinas. Now here we have a sakaraha, which is padanta. Because of what? Pratyalope pratyaya lakshanam suptingantam padam. Even though tip pratyaya completely went away, pratyalope pratyaya lakshanam suptingantam padam. And by pratyalope pratyaya lakshanam, we can say tip is following. Remember, the angakaryam is only stopped when you do the nalumatangasya, only when you do luk, shlu, lup. Right now we did not have any luk, shlu, lup. All we did was we used 6168, this one here, which is hanyabhyo dirghat sutisya pruktam hal. We only did lopaha, not luk, shlu, lup. So that tip pratyaha can definitely be used to do angakaryam. We look at the vritti of hanyabhyo. Let's quickly double check that by 6168 hanyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hal. Let's see. Right, let me see where we use it the first time, hanyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hal, because there you have to be careful. If you do any 6168, both of us, 6168, it should be here, hanyabhyo dirgha sutisya pruktam hal. Well, okay, 6168. Okay, here it is. Halantat param dirghau yognyaapo tadantacha param sutisya hal lupyate. It takes lopaha only. It takes only lopaha, not luk, shlu, lup. So that is what, because that is 6168. So we can definitely use pratyay lope, pratyay lakshanam. We can, because see, anuvritti lopo, your vali, lopa was coming from there. So now what we have is that we have the sakaraha, which is padanta, because pratyay lope, pratyay lakshanam, suptingantam padam. It is followed by pratyay tip by pratyay lope, pratyay lakshanam. So then it takes the dakara deshaha by tipyanastehe, which we just saw, tipyanastehe said that padantasya sasya dasya tipi natvastehe, not for dhatu as. We don't have dhatu as. We do have padanta sakaraha. We do have tip following by pratyay lakshanam, and so it's dakara deshaha. And of course, vavasane, ahinad. We get two forms, so we get ahinad by tipyanastehe. In these places, there is nothing special. Sarvadhatikam pitta shnasara lopaha. Because here we get the jontaha, itascha, sanyogantasya lopaha. Here also Savadhatikam pitta shnasara lopaha. In all places shnanna lopaha. All places shnanna lopaha. And in this table, all places adagamaha. Lung 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 krodataha. Now here we take the Madhya Purusha Ekavachanam. Again we have to apply the next sutram there. Next sutram after tipyanastehe. Tipyanastehe, the next sutram was sipidhato rurva. If we padanta sakara, anuvritti same from sasajusho ruho, we get the anuvritti padanta sakaraha. Sakaraha comes from there. If we have a sip pratyaya following, it's a sakara of a dhatu, it takes a ru adesha optionally. Normally you should have a nityam ru adesha, but sasajusho ruho. So basically this one says ru adesha is only optional. When you don't do it, then you have to go back and apply the jalam yashonte, become dakara adesha. So one more time. Sipidhatu rurva requires a padanta sakara of a dhatu followed by sip by pratyaya lakshanam, of course. And then what happens is that sakara takes ru only optionally, not nityam. Sasajusho ru is written nityam ru. This one takes ru only optionally. In the remaining case, so ru abhava pakshe, we're going to get the jalam yashonte dakaraha. So that happens here in the Madhya Purusha Ekavachanam. So padantasya dhatosasya rusyad va pakshe jashtvena daha. Means by doing jalam jashonte we get daha. So ru is optionally substituted for padanta sakaraha when the sip pratyaya follows. When ru is not substituted, we get jalam jashonte dakara adesha. Let's look at the Madhya Purusha Ekavachanam ru pakshe. When we do the ru adesha, so lang pratyaya anadhane lang anubandha lopaha tiptajji sip comes there, anubandha lopaha halantyam itashcha hins sa, then we get rudradibhyashnam anubandha lopaha the Shakotadite Halantyam. Nothing new in all these steps. Shnan Nalopaha. Shnan Nalopaha comes. Then we should actually do this step first, which is the 6168, because here we do have the Hal Sakara followed by the Apripta Sakara of the Pratyaya Sip. Anyabhyo Dirgha Sutisya Pruktam Hal. So it takes this Sakara takes Lopaha by 6168. And then in the meanwhile, Ad Agamaha, Lung Lung Rung Shvadarattaha, Adyantav Takitav, Halantyam Lubanda Lopaha. So we got the form Ahinas. We do have a Sakara, which is Padanta Sakara, because Pratyay Lope, Pratyay Lakshanam, Supting Antam Padam. Even though the Sip was gone, the Lakshanam is still there. Which is followed by Sip, by again with Pratyay Lakshanam, Pratyay Lope, Pratyay Lakshanam. So now this takes the Ru Adesha. This is nothing special. We could have applied Sasajusho Ruhu also we could have applied. But this Ru Adesha, and then when that happens, we get the Anubandha Lopaha, Upadesha Janunasikait, followed by Kharavasanayor Visajaniya. But then that's only optional. Only optional. So the Prabhavaha, the use of this sutram, the prayojanam of this sutram is to keep the Ru Adesha only optional. So when the Ru Adesha is not done, then same thing, Pratyay Lakshanam. From this step, Ahinas, after that, we get Pratyay Lakshanam, Supting Antam Padam, but now get Jalam Jashwante. Jalam Jashwante, we get the Dakara Adesha, Vavasane. So one more time. This is this Sutram Sipidhatu Rurva says that if we have a Padanta Sakara of a Dhatu, followed by Sip, it takes a Ru Adesha only optionally. So when we did all these steps, bringing in the Ganavikarana Shnam, Shnan Nalopaha, applying Halnyabhyo Dirgha Sutisya Pruktam Hal, Adagamaha, after that we got Ahinas. We have Padanta Sakara of a Dhatu, is followed by Sip, is Padanta because of Pratyay Lope Pratyay Lakshanam, Supting Antam Padam, is followed by Sip because of Pratyay Lope Pratyay Lakshanam. So then we take the Ru Adesha optionally, then Ru Bhava Pakshe, we go back to Jalam Jashwante, and then get the Dakara Adesha, then Vavasane. That's how we get these three forms. So this one we would have got anyway, where Ahinas, we would have got the Sasajushoru anyway. But that Sipidhato Rurva, because of that optionality, now we can also get these forms by applying Jalam Jashwante, Vavasane. So that's how these three rules. So one last time, look at these three rules because they are kind of confusing, these three, okay? So Tipyanastehe requires a Padanta Sakara followed by Pratyaya Tip, not of the Dhatu, As, that takes the Ru Adesha, and that one takes the Dakara Adesha, and that one we used over here. Tipyanastehe we used over here. Because we have the Padanta Sakara followed by Tip. Instead of taking Sasajushoruho, it is Apavada of Sasajushoruho. We got the, if I put in a document here, the Tipyanastehe last sutram, this is a Apavada of Sasajushoruho. So we have Padanta Sakara followed by Tip. Instead of Sasajushoruho, we got Takara Desha, Ahinad. Now here, when Sip follows, same thing, Padanta Sakara of a Dhatu followed by Sip, but here the Ru is optional. Ru was Nityam, became optional. So we get Ahinaha, Ahinat, Ahinad. Okay, so moving, and then the last one was Dashcha. That we had when Dhatu Ruddh we had. There we require a Padanta Dakara followed by Sip, by Pratyay Lakshanam again. So that Dashcha Sutram. So here, then that one we used back over here. So Dashcha, if we just use that Dashcha Sutram, which was here. So Dhatur Dashcha Padantasya Sipirurva. The Sipirurva is common. So that one we used when we derived these forms over here. For Dhatu Ruddh, we got the Arunaha, Arunad, Arunad, Sipidha. So Dashcha Sutram. Okay, so practice these three rules. So they are confusing. The first two are with Padanta Sakara is required. The last one Padanta Dakara is required. The first is Nityam. The second and third is optional. The Ru Adesha is optional. And then These are, for, as I said, for the first one, tip should follow. Second and third, sip should follow. In all cases, should be padanta. Okay, so let's move on now. Now we have in here nothing really special in these forms. All of these places by tasastramipam tam tam tamaha, and then sarvadhatukam pit. You're going to get snasara lopaha in all places here. Shnana lopaha as well as adagamaha. Now ahina sam, because came in place of mip. There's no mitrat bhavaha. We cannot use sarvadhatukam pit, so there's no question of snasara lopaha. So ahina sam, there's no akar lopa here. Ahim sma, here we have to use snasara lopaha. Now himsyat, nothing special, because everywhere yasut comes, yasut prasapadeshu dhatu nicha. Moment saying nicha, you're going to get the shnasara lopaha in all places. In all places also shnana lopaha. So himsya is common word because of in all places we also get the linga salopanantasya. So in all these places we're going to get the yasutagamaha. In all places we're going to get shnana lopaha. In all places we could get snasara lopaha. In all places we're going to get linga salopanantasya. All places we're going to get nashchavadantasya jali. So himsya is common word with the usual warning that the yasut belongs to pratyaya, not to the angam. And then the rest of the work is the same. Himsyat, himsyatan, himsyiho, jir, just, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that completes the Rudhadigana. Now in this class we're not taking all possible rules. There will be some complicated situations, but we got 80% of the matter we got. Now we can explore more in the daily examples. You can also explore on your own, but the basic operations of this gana we have seen when at least these 4 lakaras. When the karana vikarana hashnam comes, what happens? We got a gist of that. The next gana again in the Ashtadhyayi order is the Tudadiganaha. Sorry, is the Tanadiganaha. No, let me see. I think we need one more here. I'm sorry. Okay, we have one more dhatu here, which is the Bhujo Navane. Bhujo Navane. So before we go to the next Ganaha, Tanadi, before we go to Tanadi Ganaha, let's stop and look at this dhatu, Bhujo Navane. This dhatu is Bhuja. Palana bhyavaharayoho. So palana means to protect. Abhyavahara means like to consume or to enjoy. Now what is special? Why are we taking this dhatu at all? Especially because look at the number we're looking at is 1366. Remember our Avdu which we know in this area, which we use this 1312 all the time, which is Anudattanyata Atmanipadam. We also have been using the Sritagnitaha Katravipraya Kriyaphale. We have been using that Katravipraya Kriyaphale, and now we are using of this Bhujo Navane. So this sutra must be talking about something about the Atmanipada Paraspada Vyavastha. So in fact we also used Mriyate Lunglingoscha, we used that. So we're going to be seeing more from this section. So this entire section from 1312 Atmanipadam up to the Apada Samapte, up to the end of this Padaha, talks about the Padavyavastha. Atmanipadam Parasmipadam. In that, up to this Sutram Sheshat Karte Parasmipadam, we are talking about Atmanipadam. So now this must be saying something about this Dhatu Bhuj taking Atmanipadam, which says Bhujo Navane. In any other meaning except Avane, except protecting, this dhatu bhuj will take atmanipadam home. So if you look at the dhatu pataha, the ending akara of this dhatu bhuja, palana bhyavaharayoho, is udatta swaraha. So therefore normally it is devoid of any indication bringing atmanipada pratyaha. So we should have just applied the sheshat kartari parasmipadam everywhere, in every meaning, every sarvatra. But now this sutram is 1366 says Bhujo Navane Tanganaustaha. This tang, which means this ta, atam, ju, etc. and the pratyana, which we see later, which is the shanach, etc. So basically it takes Atmanipadam. Now, so one more time, this dhatu bhuja, the ending akara is an it by upadesha janunasika it. It is udatta swaraha, so we could not use an udatta gnita atmanipadam. We also could not use surita gnita kartri vipraya kriyapale. So we should have just defaulted to sheshat kriti parasyapadam. We will do that, but we have to include the sutram which says that if it's anavane, not in the meaning of protection, then we'll take atmanipadam. Now, as it turns out, there's this meaning of avane is quite rare. Anavane only is most common, to eat, to enjoy. So bhungshvarajam samruddham comes in Gita. Yo bhungte stena eva saha. Bhunjate te tvagam papaha. So bhunjate, bhungte, bhungshva. So comes in Gita. Many times this dhatu is a common dhatu. And all places in the Gita, all places in the Bhagavad Gita, this takes only atmanipadam. Because it is anavane, like bhungshvarajam, enjoy the kingdom. Shri Krishna says to. Let's in our Gita today. Let's see, chapter number 11. Bhungshvarajam samurdham, maya veta nihata purameva. Nimitta matram avasavya sachin. Comes in chapter 11. Tasma, here it is. Tasmatum uttishta yasho labhaso jitva shatrun bhungshva. So again you see atmanipadam, bhungshva. In chapter 3. Aprada yo bhungte stena eva saha yadna shishtashinas santo mucchante sarvakil vishayihi bhunjate here bhunjate tvagam papa. Yep, so yo bhungte stena eva saha. So bhungte, bhunjate, bhungshva, everywhere in Gita it is anavane. So anyway, this sutram says that if you use a dhatu bhuj in the sense of anavane, any other meaning except avane, which in fact the most common meaning is not avane, so then it's going to take atmanipadam. So when you take avane pakshe, then we use parasyapadam for the usual steps. Lat tiptajji rubandalopaha udadibhyashnam, because the pratyay is tip, it's not nyatvat, so there's no shasora lopaha. You do sandhikaryam, so bhunajati, and then the chohokuho, and then karicha, bhunakti. This is a much less common form than the anavane pakshe. Bhuja plus lat, usual steps with pratyal be ta, this atmane padam, and then we get the so 1366 atmane padam bhujo navane, bhujo navane, bhujo navane, bhujo navane, bhujo navane. We get titha atmane padaram tere, and then pratyashnam, but this stays a pitta. So we're going to get Shnasora Lopaha now. Shnasora Lopaha is going to come. Then Sandhikaryam, we get the Chohokuhu, followed by Nashchapantasya Jali, Anuswaraha, then Karicha, Anuswarasi Parasavarnaha. Bhungte comes in Gita chapter 3. Yo Bhungte Stena Evasaha. Okay, so that was just especially in dhatu bhuja. Now it takes in the any meaning except avane, it takes atmanipadam. Now the next gana is, if you look at the, so that was Rudhadi gana. Look at the Ashtadhyayi order. Ashtadhyayi, if you look at it, we have the we just finished Rudhadi Vyashnam, 3:1 verse 78. Now come Tanadi Krimbhya Uho. Now what has happened here is that because we already did those form Vidang Kurvantu, etc. So at that time we have already explored this ganaha. We did the lot lakaraha of dhatu kru. If you recall, because we needed that for do Vidang Kurvantu when we derived those forms in 3179, because here is this Vidang Kurvantu Vittinatrasyam 3141. So vete he loti am guna bhavo loto look lodanta karotyanuprayogascha vani patyate. This dhatu with had taken special forms in lot optionally. This dhatu kru had become vidang kurvantu, etc. So that time we did look at the sutram tanadi krimbhya uhu tanade he krinyascha uf pratyasat apavada for Katari shap. So tanadi krimbhya. So tanadi. I'm saying tanadi, not tanadi. This tudadi is sixth kana. Tanadi, dhatu tanu vistar, I think so is dhatu that will take the pratya uhu. So we already seen that. Now So let's look at our tables here. So we will not repeat that one. So we take the Tanu Vistare. So here, remember, this is not the Pratyaya Shnu. Pratyaya is Uhu, which means that you don't have to worry about these two rows, which is the Achishnu Dhatu Bhram, Yor Yungvanga. We don't have to think about that. It's only Achishnu Dhatu and Bhru. This Pratyaya we have is U right now. Also, we don't have to worry about Hushnavo Sarvadhatu. Okay, you don't think about that either. Those only for Shnu and Shnu. Which should be pretty straightforward. If you look at Tanoti, so Tanadi Kunbhya Uhu in all places, get the Vyakaranam U, which is going to be Apavada for shop. Of course, Tip is a pit Pratyaya, so nothing to stop the Gunadesha. Tanoti, Tanoshi, Tanomi, these three places straightforward. Gunadesha, Sarvadhatkaraka Yoho. And here we got Adesha Pratyaya Yoho, Pratyaya Yoho, Urdhanya Shakara Desha. In the remaining places, we're going to have the Sarvadhatukam Apit, so there'll be Kriticha will stop the Gunadesha of the U. So Tanutaha, no Tanvanti, that Tanu plus Jwantaha Anti, only Equernachi. Okay, so there's no need to think about this Achishnu Dhatu Bhruvam or the Hushnu Sarvadhatu. Okay, nothing, they don't apply over here because we don't have Shnu. You only have the Ganavikarana Uhu. So just Equernachi. Tanvanti, Tanuthaha, Tanutha. Now Tanvaha, Tanuvaha, Tanvaha, Tanuvaha. We require Sutram 64107. Lopaschasya Nitrasya Moho. Lopaschasya Nitrasya Moho. So which is this set of rules. So see how we get to practice these rules now. If you go down here, we had Utascha Pratyaya Sanyoga Purvat. If you have the Ukaraha of a Pratyaya, which is there's no Sanyoga prior to it, the following He Pratyaya takes look. Anuvritti of this entire Sutram comes down here. Utascha Pratyaya Sanyoga Purvat. Utascha Pratyaya Sanyoga Purvat. Lopaschasya Nitrasya Moho. Lopaschasya Moho. I mean this Ukaraha, which is a Pratyaya Ukaraha, a Sanyoga Purvaha, Tasya Pakshika Lopaha, Moho, Makare Vakare Chapare. So what we have is that we have Ta Nu Vaha. So here we have the Ukara is Pratyaya of the Tanadi Krumbhya Uhu. It's definitely a Pratyaya Ukaraha. Followed by a Vakara, it'll take Vikalpin. Lopaha, so Tanvaha, Tanuvaha, same thing here. Because Moho, Lopaschasya Nitrasya Moho, Makare Vakare Chapare, so Tanvaha, Tanvaha, Tanuvaha, Tanvaha, Tanuvaha, and we get these two forms. Now when we go to there are no new rules required here. We already know all the rules. This is the beauty of doing it the Paninian way, is that we can generate the entire tables of this Tanu Vistare. We can do the Vistara of Tanu Vistare without requiring any new rules. Tanotu here, of course, here Ruho. Tatang, when we have Tatang is a Nit, so the Vikniticha will apply to Yos Tatang Ashishinatrasyam. So by the way, I'm not repeating all these rules again and again because it'll take us too much time in the class. Any Pratyadesha, always think of 7.1. My teacher always told me Pratyadesha means think of 7.1. So it says to Yos Tatang Ashishinatrasyam. So tu and he takes the Tatang actually, and it says Tatang is a Sakshat Nit from. So in those two places, no Gunadesha because of Kiniticha, so U remains as U. Here, Tanu, we just followed Sutram, Utascha Pratyaya Sanyoga Purvat, the He takes look. So like in the form Kuru, same thing like in the form Shunu, like in the form when we had the Shnu Vikarana, same thing we had. So Tanu, 64106, Utascha Pratyaya Sanyoga Purvat. So because Ato He was 64105. 106, this sutram, we have Ukara Pratyaya. There's no Sanyoga prior to it, so here looks yat. That goes. Then because you look at these rules over here, so 6-4 Ato He was 105 because in look and Ruti is coming down, so the He takes look. So we get Tanu Tanutat. And here, Loto Langvatta Sastamipan Tam Tam Tamaha. In these places, it is the Sarvadhatkam Pit Mitvat, so no Gunadesha. Kiniti just stops Gunadesha. So Tanutam, Tanvantu, here only Eruhu and Yan Sandhi. Tanuta, Uttama Purusha means, as usual, Artamasya Picha. Then Adagamaha, you get Mer Nihi. And here Loto Langvat, Nityam Taha. So Tanavani, Tanavava, Tanavam, because Artamasya Picha. You all become pit in all places. You get Sarvadhata Karataka Yoho, Gunadesha. Now you know what, we probably won't do all these in the classes. There is no new rules in this entire this day we've done. So I'll just mention maybe here you get itascha, nothing special. Gunadesha by Sarvadhatkartaka Yoho, Atanot, of course all these 9 places, Adagamaha, Lung Lung Rung Shvradataha, here Tasastring Pam Tam Tam Tamaha, here we got Itascha followed by Sanyam Antasya Lopaha and Yan Sandhi. So in all these same rules, and here again we have the Lopaschasya Nitrasya Moho. Lopaschasya Nitrasya Moho. So Atanva, Atanuva, Atanma, Atanuma, and of course Nityam Nitaha, ending up Visargatis Lopaha. In this place, because the Ammadesha came in place of Mip, so it is a Pit, so Gunadesha Echo Yavayavaha. Echo Yavayavaha Atanavam. Tanuyat Yasut everywhere. It is a Parasipadeshu Datu Nitya. Nit Sarvatra Guna Nishedha. And Sarvatra Linga Salopanantasya. Anantasya. So that's what I'm talking about. Is this one 7279 Linga Salopanantasya. Linga Salopanantasya. So Tanuya is common word with the usual warning that the Yasur belongs to Pratyaha, not to the Angam. Tanuya, Tanuyatam, etc. Here just same old rules. Now in the Apanipadam, let's give you for homework. You can derive all these forms on your own. You're in all these places because of Sarvadhatakam Pit becomes Nitvat, Guna Nisheda everywhere. Here we get Apnadipadeshvanataha, Yan Sandhi, Tanvate. In these places, again the same thing. Lopaschasya Nitrasya Moho. 64107. 64107. So all the same rules. Please practice for homework. You'll get more examples. And here also the all lot rules, tere, Titapabadaram tere, ametaha, and so on. In Uttapurusha, you're going to get the Artamasya Picha become Pit, so you're going to Gunadesha becomes Tano, Echo Yavayavaha. And the usual rules. So here you get Tano plus A, then you get Artamasya Picha, Et Ai, Atascha Vriddhi, then Echo Yavayavaha Tanavai. So you had Tano plus A after doing the Titapabadaram tere, then Ameta should have come, came Eta Ai, Uttapurusha gets Ai Adesha, then Artamasya Picha, so you got Tano A Ai, Atascha Vriddhi, Tano Ai, and then Echo Yavayavaha Tanavai. Similarly here also, Eta Ai here also, Artamasya Picha. Now, Lung also nothing really special, Adagama everywhere, Lung 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 Shvradataha. So take this for homework and practice these forms. Here we got Atmapadeshvanataha and Yan Sandhi. And in the Vidhiling, Siyut Agam everywhere, Linga Siyut. In all places, there's no Pit Pratyaya here, so it becomes Sarvadhatikama Pit. So Kniticha Guna. So we got Tanu, and then E is common, Yan Sandhi, Tanviya is common. Usual warning, the Siyut is the Agama to the Pratyaya, not to the Angam, but Tanviya is common. Work, Samanyam Karyam, and then Yathasambhavam Lopaviorvali. So Tanvita Lopaviorvali, Tanviran Jasyaran Lopaviorvali. Here we got Itot, Tanviya, and so on. Now for the Dhatu Kruk, Tanadi Krubhyakuhu. This is clearly one of the most important dhatus in the language. Acharyas nahi rakshi dukkan karne, right? Nahi rakshati dukkan karne. So he makes fun of this dhatu. But this dhatu is the most important dhatu in the whole language. Well, one of the most important. And it has special rules. We're going to focus on 3 special rules, which is this one here, which is for dhatu kru only. One of them is this, nityam karote he, then yecha, and this one you already seen before, ato savdhatu ke. So look at these 3 rules. Nityam karote he, says that we just looked at the sutram lopaschasya natrasya moho, but nityam karote he. So if you have following dhatu kru, if you have a pratyaya ukaraha, which is asanyoga purvaha, and is followed by makara or vakaraha, it will take a nitya lopaha, nityam lopaha. So there is no vikalpaha here. It was vikalpaha by this prior sutram, but with the dhatu, if it's following a dhatu kru, then that pratyaya ukaraha will take nityam lopaha, followed by moho. And yecha, not only that, when it followed by the yakad pratyaya yakaradi, we get the yasut agamaha, also take lopaha. And this one we already see ato sarvadhatuke or kitnit sarvadhatuke. When we have the after doing guna adesha becomes kar u that the akara of that angam kar takes the ukara adesha when the following pratyaya is kitnit sarvadhatukam. So now when we derive this from right now for this tanuyat and all that, we had no ukar lopaha. We did not get ukar lopaha. Tanuyat we had and so on. But when dhatu kru is, we're going to get the form kuryat. Comes in Gita. Na kuryam karma chedaham. Na kuryam comes in Gita. So there we're going to get the ukara lopaha. So these two rules, which is nityam karote he, yecha, ata usarvadhatuke, we already seen before. We can look at briefly again right now. Ata usarvadhatuke. Ata usarvadhatuke we already saw before. Ata usarvadhatuke, ata usarvadhatuke. Here it is. It says that upratyantasya kriyaha akarasya usyat sarvadhatuke kiniti. So when we have the upratyanta kru, basically karu, kar-u, when we have akarasya, that akara of kar, of that karu, usyat becomes kuru, basically it becomes. But sarvadhatuke kiniti only. Sarvadhatuke. So that karu becomes kuru. First you have kru plus let's say your pratyaya tas, then we get the tanadi krum here uhu, the uhu pratyaya sanya of ardhadhatukam by ardhadhatukam sheshaha. It will do the guna adeshaha. So you don't forget that the pratyaya uhu has a sanya of ardhadhatukam, because thing is sarvadhatukam, ardhadhatukam sheshaha. So uhu has sanya of ardhadhatukam. Even though it's apit, we cannot use sarvadhatukam apit, because u has sanya of ardhadhatukam sheshaha by that sutram. So u will do the guna adesha for kru becomes uran rapara becomes kar u. Thus we have the upratyayanta dhatu kru, that akara in that karu, kar u, we take the ukara adesha in forward pratyaya, which is sarvadhatukam kit or nitya. Okay, let's go to our document. So with the introduction, let's see if we can generate the tables for this one. Now, when we are looking at the lat lakara, there's nothing special here. When we do kru, u plus first kru plus lat, you do operation anubandha lopaha, kru plus tip anubandha lopaha, kru plus ti, tanadi krum vya uho. So kru u ti. Now the kru angam will take gunadesha becomes uran raparaha also. So first we apply sarvadhatukarthaka yoho, uran raparaha becomes kar u ti. Now the tip is a pit pratyaya sarvadhatukam, so there's no, it's not nitvat, so we'll do the gunadesha for the ukaraha. Kar o ti, kar o ti. So one more time, the u pratyaya vikaranaha u came in here, the sanya of ardhadhatukam, so even though it's a pit, doesn't matter. It doesn't become nitvat, because only sarvadhatukam apit. So that can do the gunadesha for kru, uran raparaha becomes kar, and tip does gunadesha for the u of the vikaranaha u and becomes karoti. Karoshi, yat karoshi dashnasi, chapter 9 of Gita, yat karoshi. Very, very common dhatu, karomi. Of course here we have to use adesha pratyayayoho, shattam. The kurutaha in these 6 places, of course, pratyaya following is sarvadhatukam apit pratyaya. So there, all of these places, we will not get the guna adesha for the pratyaya ukaraha. But then what will happen is that because of the ataut sarvadhatuke. So let's take this form over here. When we had kru plus tas, kru u plus tas, tanadi krum vya uho. The u pratyaya can do guna adesha for the angam kru, uran raparaha becomes kar utas, kar utas. Now, atau sarvadhatuke. We have a dhatuk ru ending in the pratyaya u, followed by pratyaya tas, which is nitvat by sarvadhatukam apit. Then that akara of kar takes the ukara desha. Again, we've seen this previously, so nothing new for today. 64110 becomes kur u tas. Because tas is apit, sarvadhatukam apit, it cannot do guna desha for the pratyukara. So kurutaha. So we have atau sarvadhatuke gets this ukara desha, and this ukara pratyaya cannot take gunaha because tas is sarvadhatukam apit nitvat. Then kurvanti, so we have seen this we had the same kur u is coming there, and anti bhajontaha. Now we get yan sandhi. So kurvanti. At that point, kurvanti, if you recall, if you can recall from memory, is that we have the sutram halicha. So we have kurvanti by halicha. The ukara should have taken, upadha ukara should have taken dirgha desha, should have become kurvanti. But then the special rule which says na bha kuruchuram. So na bha kuruchuram. So 8279 stops 8277. If you want to go back and practice these, we look at na bha kuruchuram 8279. Says that bhasya kur churosh chopadhaya iko dirgho nasyat. So when you have kur plus vanti, when you do the equivalence, you get kur vanti. So even though we have dhatu ending in the repa, followed by the hal, kur vanti, but na bha kuruchuram stops halicha. So 8279 stops 8277. So it stays kurvanti. The ukar does not become dirgha. Kurvanti. You hear all the same thing, atau sarvadhatuke, these places. Now here comes a special sutram, is we should have had the lopaschasya natarasya moho. Instead, we get nityam karote here. Nityam karote. Let's look at the sutram. Karote he pratyokarasya nityam lopabhoti moho parataha. Look at the number 64108. It is right below sutram which we have been using. Lopaschasya natarasya moho, but nityam karote he. So it says that ukara for pratyaya following the dhatu kru is special for this dhatu. Always takes lopa, not va. Vikalpa nasti. When followed by makara or vakara or makara. Apavada for 64107 lopaschasya natarasya moho. So when we look at these steps, when you look at the Uttapurusha Vivachanam, Kuru plus Lat, and when the lope get was, Tanadikrimya Uho, the U does the Gunadesha, because U again is Hasanya of Ardhadhatukam, even though it's apit, doesn't matter. You can do Gunadesha for the Angam, Urandaparaha, becomes Kar U, so by Sarvadhatkarthaka Yoho, Urandaparaha. And then after that, by Atau Sarvadhatuke, because we have Dhatu Kuru followed by which is ending in the u pratyaya, followed by a pratyaya was, which is sarvadhatika complete nitvat. Nityam karote applies. Instead of kar, it becomes kur. Now one more question came up here, by the way, is that why cannot this u come back and do the gunadesha for this ukara of kur by puganta laghu patasya cha? The answer to that was, and this is nothing new, you already seen that, because Panini said ata ut sarvadhatuke. By using the taparaha, he indicated because this is a vidhiyamana ukaraha. There was no need to say ut. But still Panini has said ut, so that we don't apply puganta labhupatasya cha to this ukaraha. Where it says, but taparakaranam, I think Kashika has a comment on that, 641110. Look at 641110. So otherwise you might think, why cannot the ukara do this u of the pratyaya ukaraha do the guna adesha by puganta laghupatasya cha for the ukara of the angam kur? It does not happen because that taparakaranam, because Panini says ata ut sarvadhatuke, so it says that it says taparakaranam laghupatasya guna nivrityartham. So we get kur by now we have kur u plus was. At this point we should have been using lopaschasya natarasya moho, but nityam karote here. So if you have the ukara pratyaya, which is following dhatu kru, it's a sanyaga purva, but following dhatu kru, then it takes nityam lopaha, followed by moho, followed by makara or vakara. So ukara pratyaya is followed by makara or vakara, and the preceding is a dhatu kru. It takes nityam lopaha, kurvas, then of course rutta visarga kurvaha. So that is what is a special operation here in kurvaha and kurmaha. Nityam karotehe. Instead of 64107, we get nityam lopaha. So kurvaha, kurmaha. Now this Lord, nothing special. Eruhu, and then tuyo statang ashishinatrasyam, because statang is a nit, same thing. We get the atau sarvadhatuke kurutat. And here in these places, loto langvat sastam fam tam tam tamaha, nothing really special. All of these places, sarvadhatkam apit, these pratyas are nitvat. So the stops kiniticha will stop gunadesha for the pratyaya ukaraha. In atau sarvadhatuke, all of these places. No, sorry, only in these 4 places, because in Utta Purushaha we get Aduttamascha Picha. So that time they all become Pitta. So there there is no Atau Sarvadhatuke, we'll take Guna Adeshaha. So here in 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 places, because of Sarvadhatukam Pitta, there is Kiniticha, we stop Guna Adesha for the Ukara Pratyaha, Atau Sarvadhatuke, Kurutam, Kurvantu, same thing. We had this form way back with Budam Kurvantu. Nabha Kuruchuram stops the Upada Dirgha, which would have come by Halicha 8 to 77. And Huyan Sandhis come here, Kurvantu. Artamasya Picha, Karavani, Karavava, Karavama, in all these places become Karo, because the Ad Agamaha makes the Patya Pit in all 3 places. Of course, this was already Pit by Mip, but these 2 were not Pit to begin with, Vas and Mas. But that Aduttamascha Picha made them Pit. So in all 3 places now, you're going to get the Angam Karo. So Gunadesha for the Ukara Pratyaha, and we cannot use Atau Sarvadhatuke 64110, because the Pratyaya following is not Kitnyit. So Karo Echoyavayavaha Sakaravani by made Nihi Karavava Loto Langvat Nityam Taha Karavama. Now here nothing special. Itascha Adagama everywhere. Lung lang rung chvradataha. And here also same thing here. Akurva akurma nityang karote here. There's no optional form. When we did a dhatu tanu vistare, we had a tanva a tanuva. But here nityang karote here, we only going to get one form, akurva akurma. Now vidiling, when you come to vidiling, we have special sutram now, which I told you about that, but we'll look at in detail now, which is yecha. Same thing, you see, which is karote, following dhatu kru. If you have a utashche pratyaya ukaraha, which is followed by the yakaraha pratyaha, then we get the nityam lopa ukaraha. So let's look at the sutram, which is the yecha. Kriyaha ulopo yado pratyaya pare. The ukaraha pratyaha, in this case the tanadikrimbhya uhu, that ukaraha, following the verbal root dukrin karne, takes lopaha when followed by yakaradi pratyaha. So when we did kru plus vidiling, ling, anubandha lopaha tip, anubandha lopaha itascha, because the ling is a nit lakaraha, itascha 3 for 100. Yasut comes in there, yasut plus pradesh utak to nitcha, and then anubandha lopaha, then tanadikrimbhya uhu. So we got kru u yasta. Now the ukara is a pratyaya sanya of ardhatukam. It can do sarvadhatuka yoho gunaha. Rundapara becomes kar u yas. Now comes the nityam, see, atau sarvadhatuke. Just parakaryam, that should be done first. Atau sarvadhatuke, because the pratyaya, when yasut comes, yasut prasipadeshu udato nitya is nit. So that means we can apply 64110. Make it kur-u. Kur-u. Atau sarvadhatuke. Make kur-u. Now what do we have? We have this ukara pratyaha following dhatu dukrin karane. The ukara itself is followed by a yadav pratyaha. Yadi pratyaya, I should say. Yadi pratyaya. Yadav pratyaya pare. So then we get the ukar lopaha becomes kuryat. kuryat. Of course, the sakara of yasut takes the lopaha by linga salopanantasya. So what we did here was the ukara of the pratyaya following the dhatu kru takes lopaha when it is followed by yakaradi pratyaya. So in all of these places, when you look at the table, all these places yecha. You can get yasut in every place. Yasut pronounced dhatu nicha, and that one of course is this 34103, and then it's nit. So everywhere you can get ataut sarvadhatuke. So you're going to get kuru plus ya. Then linga salopanantasya, the sakara of yasut takes lopaha. So kur ya is going to become work after yecha. So in all these places yecha. One more time, the ukara of pratyaya, which is preceded by dhatu kru and followed by yadi pratyaya, will take lopaha. Become kuryat, kuryatam, kuryuho. I mean jejus, etc. So that was sutram yecha. So these are these three rules. One more time for dhatu kru, which is the nityam karote. Hey, the pratyukaraha followed by makara or vakara takes nityam lopaha in the case of dhatu kru. Yecha, if it's that pratyukaraha which is following dhatu kru takes nityam lopaha followed by yadi pratyaya. Ato sarvadhatuke says that when you have the pratyaya, the dhatu kru ending in the pratyaya u followed by pratyaya which is sanya of sarvadhatukam, which is kit or nyit, then the angam kar u becomes kur u. The akara of the angam takes the ukara. Of course, this one we have seen previously. That one, that 64110 is nothing new to us. We've already seen that when we did that previously. So the today's only two new rules only were this ones. So this Atav Sarvadhatuke we already seen previously. So today we only saw these two, 64, 108, 109. Nityam karote, the ukara pratyaha, which is following kru, which is followed by makara or vakara takes nityam lopaha, and same thing ukara following the dhatu between karane, which is followed by yadi pratyaya also takes lopaha. So we get these forms kuryat, etc. kuryatam, kuryava. That's nothing else. I mean, apane padam, everywhere this is going to be pratyaya is a bit usual root thasas stay and so on. So this you can take for homework. Now kurvahe, kurmahe, you're also nityam karote. No optionality. Everywhere you're going to get Kitapnapadanam Tere, all the usual rules. And here we get Yan Sandhi in these places. So here we get Atmanipadesh Anataha, we get over there. So there's nothing really new. Here we get the Lord Sambandhi Karyani. Now in these places, all these places, Ato Sarvadhatuke, in all 9 places over here, in these 6 places, until you get to Aruttamasya Picha. So that Aratmasya picture is a pit, so they will not get Ato Sarvadhatuke. You'll get the Angam becomes Karo. Then, Chitapnaparam Tere, Eta Ai, Aratmasya picture, Artishya Vriddhi, Karavai, Karavavahi, Karavamahi. Here also nothing special. All places Adagamaha, Lungrang Rung, Shurarataha, and all places you're going to get the Ato Sarvadhatuke. And here again, akurvahi, akurmahi, nityam karote. See that yecha only applies here, kuryat, etc. We don't have in Atmane Padam, we do not have a yakaradi pratyaya. We don't have pratyaya in yakara. So yecha we don't need in Atmane Padam over here. But so here we only have to use the nityam karote. Now here kurviya is common work in all these places because siyut agama linga siyut linga salopanantasya. So in all places you're going to get atav sarvadhatuke. So kuru iya, so kurviya by yan sandhi kurviya. Usual warning: the siyut is agama pratyaya, not the angam, but kurvita kurviyata. Here just ran yatha yogyam lopoyor vali. So kurviran jasyaran lopoyor vali. Here we get itot. Here we get kurviya plus vahi mahi. Kurvi vahi kurvi mahi. Now next time is up. So that is the 8th gana. This is tanadi kurviya uho. Didn't require any, only we had some special rules for the dhatu kru. Today we saw 6 for 108, 109. Now next time we will start with the Kriyadiganaha. In the Ashtadhyayi order, we are looking at this one, which is the what's called the Navamaganaha, the ninth Ganaha, which is this 3-4, sorry, 3-1. It's all apavadas for shap. These are coming here. So 3-1 Kriyadibhyashna. So for homework, if you want to take, because we have 3-week break now. We have 3-week break. Please check for homework this Kriyadibhyashna. Also take for homework the remember we have to use Shnabhyastorataha. Already we have learned. We already learned Shnabhyastorataha. So this one you need to use over here. But for homework, take Kriyadibhyashna, and then also take Halashnaha Shanajau. These two for homework. So if you can, also take Vadinam Rasvaha. This is one important sutra. These two are special sutras in the for this ninth Gana. Halashnaha Shanajau, as well as Vadinam Rasvaha. And then following that, we'll go on to the 10th Gana with Churadibhyo Nitya. So for homework, just take these 4 right now, which is Kradibhyashna, not Shnaha, but Shna. Kradibhyashna. That's the Gana Vyakaranam of the 9th Gana Shna. So that's 3-1-81. Also take Halashnaha Shanajau. Halashna Shanajau. 3-1-83. And then take Vadinam Rasva 7-3-80. And also for the 10th Gana 3-1-25. Churadibhyo Nitya. Let's stop with that. So today again is October 22nd, the first part, Vyakaranam Bhagaha. Next class will now be after 3 weeks. So next class will only be second week of November, which is November 12th. November 12th. Okay. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Ramena Bhirata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Rama Nasti Paranam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chitraya Sada Bhautame Bhorama Mamudhara. Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattvalyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Undameti. How are we doing, Ravi? We're okay?